Moepork here with another Omen guide. In this video, we'll go over tips and strategies to ascend your Ascent gameplay. A lot of these videos will be theoretical situations demonstrated using an empty custom game, however most, if not all, of the concepts shown in this video have been used in my climb to Radiant. There's a lot to cover, so let's get started. Starting off on the attacking side, we'll go over some smoke defaults you can use. Mid control is very important on this map, so the common strategy is to smoke both mid and catwalk at the start of the round to help gain mid control. Whether you opt to smoke close or deep mid depends on how aggressive the opponent is playing, and if your team wants to aggressively take over one of the two mid points, you can opt to smoke mid if your team wants to aggressively peek catwalk, for example, or smoke catwalk if your team wants to peek mid, allowing you to have an extra smoke for added tempo in the mid round. Two more defaults you can use if the opponent is playing a passive mid is this B main smoke. This allows you to enter the sidewalk without being seen on the cross. This one is best used after gaining control of the B main area. You can also use this A main smoke. This sets up the possibility of a flash play and widens the choke so you can burst out from both sides, ideal against operator users that are playing on the A site. Likewise with the B main example, this one's best used after gaining control of the A main area. Moving on to teleport defaults, transforming this mid smoke into an air smoke allows you to teleport on this box safely and catch unsuspecting opponents from this angle, while still fulfilling the smoke's purpose. Teleporting to this corner in mid allows you to post up on an angle that peeks into market, should your opponent decide to attempt to peek out for information. You can keep your opponent guessing when switching up between this and the air smoke play. Teleporting to this box at the start of the round to contest an opt-down mid is a great way to catch this player off guard. It's also a useful tool when the opponent smokes the top of mid. This teleport will not be heard by the mid player unless the catwalk player calls the teleport. Moving on to attack blind angles, let's start with the A site. This angle blinds opponents playing near the button, part of the tree area, and behind the generator. This angle blinds the entire right side of the site, including site boxes, part of hell, and behind the pillar on top of heaven. When blinding tree, this angle blinds close left as well opponents playing from the garden area. Over towards mid, this angle blinds pizza and players playing towards the CT area looking into market. Moving towards the B site, this angle blinds anyone playing in the boathouse as well as sidewalk and stairs. Moving on to attack smokes, starting on the A site, these two smokes are the most common smokes to use when executing. Be sure to place the heaven smoke as far to the right as possible, so that if the opponents peek out of the smoke, they either have to fully commit or have a long distance to run back to cover. The tree smoke doubles as a way to hit the button after breaking through the choke. Over on the B site, the smoke and market and CT are solid staples when executing from the B main area. When coming from mid to market, smoking off CT and then B main when not split pushing, covers opponents pushing into B main. In post-plant situations, this smoke blocks off the stairs that can also be used to sneak into the boathouse and lurk for timing opportunities to surprise your opponent. Smoking this position in deep mid when pushing into market is strong against potential pushes from your flank, but is one-dimensional. Smoking this position here allows you to plant a teammate on the wall to cover flanks, and potentially open up a push to your opponent's flank. When executing A site, ulting behind the generator opens up a lot of pressure and information as your team is pushing in. When combined with a blind, your opponent may not hear the ultimate. Other variations include ulting on top of the generator, and on top of the pillar on heaven. When executing B site, ulting into the boathouse gives your team information if the opponents are in the boathouse or in the logs pocket without being able to be pushed from the stairs area. This also doubles as a way to close the market door instantly. Using your ult into the arches in this corner avoids giving an opponent a sound cue if they're playing sidewalk and stairs. When defending A site, you have the option of using this one-way smoke for an aggressive hold. A more standard smoke would be halfway into the archway. Turning this into a well-timed short air smoke will give you a pseudo one-way for a split second to peek with after detonation. Positioning this smoke more outward will allow you to play close and hide between the stone boxes and the smoke itself. When playing on the site itself, smoking this position on site will allow you to stall by lurking inside of it, and deny plants in the common generator spot. It will also allow you to cross the site boxes without expending a teleport. There are a plethora of teleport mix-ups you can use when playing the A site, between generator, site boxes, and hell, and even from site to the stone boxes. Be careful when attempting to teleport behind the generator as good precision is needed. Blinding into the choke point as your opponent is pushing is extremely powerful from either site boxes or generator. For a more iconic aggressive play, if you think your opponent is going to heavily push A, you can use this blind gamble by using your paranoia at this angle at the start of the round and then teleport to the far wall to snag some kills. Be careful of using this more than once per game. A better version of this gamble is to set up another teammate, usually a jet, by setting yourself up in this angle, allowing your jet to dash up to the wall faster than you would be able to teleport to it. You can also set yourself up inside the corner and catwalk and blind the entirety of the A main hall with a teammate ready to peek. Be sure to delay this blind a bit to allow your opponent to get a little bit closer. When retaking the A site, the A main smoke is a solid staple. If you have more than one smoke at your disposal, you can also hang one off the generator to give your team a one-way against any opponents playing behind the generator. If you have control of the garden area, you can set your team up with this blind angle against anyone playing close under heaven, and behind site boxes. You can use your ultimate into heaven when using it as a rotational tool as the opponent is pushing, in order to assist teammates and apply pressure quickly. You can also ult on top of the stone boxes, especially when a lot of noise is happening, much like the ultimate on Split B. You can also ult into a wine cellar to take control of A main if no opponent stayed back. When playing the garden area, playing around this one way into catwalk is a solid staple. If the opponent smokes you off, you can use your blind if you expect your opponent to be pushing through immediately, landing you some easy kills in the process. You can set up your teammates towards the B site and mid by setting up into this blind angle that covers all the way through pizza and market. Jump spotting here is a fairly safe way to gather information when playing mid. If your opponent is pushing through the archway, a smoke that lands here is a good stall and allows you to play a crossfire between market and pizza. While pizza is normally a one and done spot, Omen can play this position and escape using his teleport. There are a fair amount of mix-ups you can use when changing positions in mid. If you have a teammate playing in the market area and opponents are pushing up through mid, using this blind angle is extremely powerful to set up your teammate for easy kills. When defending the B site, this one way in the B main arch is a solid staple. You have multiple positions you can play to see your opponent first, including from market balcony, CT and stairs, and even sidewalk. If you want a more aggressive hold, you can throw a one way deeper into the B main at the next corner. If forced to play inside the bomb site, this smoke that blocks off sidewalk can also be used to hide in, and simultaneously be used to jump to sidewalk fairly silently as your opponents drop down into the site. CT and stairs is a solid position to play from, as it sets you up for many possible teleport mix-ups. When forced into the site itself, playing from the triple box is also decent, since you have further mix-up options into the arches and back towards stairs. It also sets up some good blind angles against players coming out of B main, as seen here. These blind angles from market cover anyone pushing into sidewalk and part of B main. For a more aggressive blind like the one in A main, this angle here sets up teammates with mobility such as Jet to dash in and snag easy kills if you expect your opponent to heavily push towards B. When retaking the B site, teleporting up to these barrels in CT gives you a nice angle into the site that catch any players that peek towards the stairs. Using your smokes to block off B main is a solid staple, or back a site into the arches. Using your ultimate into boathouse is good to clear the outside of the site before pushing into the site itself. This blind angle here covers the entire left side of the site, including the corner box, the triple box, the crouch angle, and half of the arches. That about wraps up this guide. Hope this ascends your Ascent gameplay. If this video helped, don't forget to hit up the socials. Join the Discord, post memes, pork pictures, clips, and VODs if you want some coaching. Links in the description below. Once again, this is moepork. Thanks for watching, stay tuned for more videos, and I'll see you next time.